Hello friends, and welcome to our channel on the Great Saints. And today's story is taken from this book here, Our Lady of Good Success, and this is by Dr. Marianne Horvat. Now, today we see major injustices, or we may have seen major injustices perhaps in the church, in society, and we wonder how this all relates to the church, to the mind of God. We may all have asked this question. For good people, why do bad things just seem to so often happen to them? Whereas for bad people, they just seem to get well rewarded. It's so easy to find examples. Perhaps there's a family trying to do the right thing, and then bam, right out of the blue, tragedy strikes. And the saints, they so often seem to bear the brunt of this. Padre Pio, perpetually persecuted, Bernadette of Lourdes, living under absolutely humiliating circumstances as her father's business failed. Now, just to clear it right out of the way at the beginning, my understanding, the theological reason, is that God is able to see into the future, and He realizes if someone's actually going to make heaven or not. If they're not, they still do a lot of good things on this earth, and so God is kind of obliged to reward them. The only place they can be rewarded then is on this earth. Now, our great saint, Mother Mariana de Jesus Torres, she was the primary visionary of the church-approved apparitions of Our Lady of Good Success. And imagine this blatant injustice that she had to face. Imprisonment in the convent prison by fellow nuns of her order. And she saw there's something redemptive in all of this. Let's look at Mother Mariana's story. Well, she's from Spain. She's based in Ecuador. And Spain at the time had this notion they were going to export troublesome friars out to the colonies. And on the contrary, Our Lady appeared to Mother Mariana and told her that she desired that heroic souls were needed in order to stand against and to appease divine justice. This is not something so unusual. Our Lord's crucifixion was exactly that. Padre Pio Stigmata, the same thing. So it's a very Catholic concept. But this rebellious faction arose within their convent. It was headed up by one nun called La Capitana. And this faction succeeded in fueling the spirit of revolt within some of these other nuns who had now grown weary of the disciplines of the order. And La Capitana was also in cahoots with at least one other priest in order to have their nuns, their order, released from under the authority of the Friars Minor, placed under effectively the Vicar General, with whom they were on very friendly terms, or she was. So a lot of politics going on here behind the scenes. And all that Mother Mariana could do was to appeal to Our Lady in prayer. And Our Lady appeared to her saying that she in fact desired to govern this convent herself as its abbess and its mother. And that Satan would always try to destroy this work of God right until the end of the world. She also told her that soon the convent would no longer fall under the Friars Minor. And that with all of these things going on, especially penitential souls would always be required to make up for, to appease divine justice with their humble sacrifices. And that they would need to be willing to accept many sufferings. So Our Lady was basically saying that things were going to start to go wrong. But somehow heaven desired this, and she was to act to win graces for the conversion of many people. Shortly after this, everything came true, as Our Lady had said. A spirit of revolt broke out in the convent. La Capitana headed it up, and she secretly conspired with priests and things. They were removed and placed under the bishop. They were effectively under the Vicar General, with whom she had a good friendship going, and accusations were made against Mother Mariana. The Vicar General believed these accusations, and so he issued the orders. Permission for Mother Mariana to be arrested, placed in the convent prison. They bad-mouthed her, and they had seemingly won. But they hadn't counted on the opposition of the other Spanish mothers, who were just inconsolable seeing this injustice. So what did the rebels do? They simply dealt out more of the same. A further 25 nuns were arrested and placed in the prison. All this because they really wanted to keep the rule. They wanted to remain more traditional. So, what happened is quite interesting though. This major injustice going on, and yet these nuns, they transformed, according to this book, this prison, the cell, into the very ante-chamber of heaven. How did they do this? By their prayers, their songs, their recollection. And so shortly after this, they all began receiving visions. Our Lord visited them, appeared to them. Our Lady appeared to them, St. Francis and the other saints too. And one interesting vision that happened to her mother, Anne, is that she saw Our Lady, the Virgin Mary, go over and extinguish the sanctuary lamp, that red light in the church's sanctuary. And the following morning, when the non-observant nuns arrived, they were now unable to relight this lamp. Just oil in a wick. It should light easily, but they were unable. And why the sanctuary lamp had been extinguished is something very, very symbolic. But it's for another story. Mother Mariana and the other founding mothers accepted all of these sufferings. They offered up these sacrifices to win graces, to appease divine justice. And so strange as it may seem, as unjust as it obviously was, God had in fact permitted this situation. And so more graces now were won through this, were bought, we could say, through their sufferings. What was the final outcome? Well, eventually La Capitana was overthrown. People had grown fed up with this injustice. But La Capitana remained completely unrepentant. She just hardened in her position, practically needing an exorcism. And Mother Mariana saw this, and she realized that La Capitana's soul was now in grave danger. She did not have a long time to live. And so she proceeded, Mother Mariana herself proceeded to ask for the conversion, and extreme sufferings were now placed on her soul. Things like the torments of hell for an extended period of time. And eventually this did work, because right on her deathbed, La Capitana repented. And so this is not an easy teaching, this example. Not something easy to follow, but something certainly very Catholic. We do ask you to join us next time. We're going to have a look at the significance of the meaning of this extinguishing the sanctuary light. Does it somehow apply to today? And we do also ask you to be part of this apostolate. Subscribe to this channel, do like and share these videos with others as well.